King Obi was old and he needed his son to succeed him, and his son happened to be schooling in the UK. So King Obi had asked his son to come back according to the meetings they had with the Council of Chiefs. He came back, and then they were like, as custom demands, King Obi should tell the son to pick a wife. And when the son was eventually back, a lot of ladies on the streets started talking about it, that the prince is back. And some of them were saying that they wish, one lady said, "Kai, she wished that the prince would just say, let them be friends." So all those kind of wishful thinking now. She was wishing. So there was now an announcement that the town crier should go around announcing that all the maidens should prepare for a dance, because there's going to be a festival of selection where the prince will choose his bride. And because the prince had been away for a very long time, he was not able to catch up with so many things that have been happening in the kingdom. He had not been to the streams, he had not been to the farm. You know how sometimes they'll take a walk around to just see the ancient city, where they come from and all of that. Visit their different friends, their different family members and all. There was no time. So when he came back, he used the opportunity to get acquainted with family, friends, and members of the extended family that he has not seen in years. So the king was so happy to see that his son was back, because he was supposed to now hand over to his son, having reigned for so many years, and he was becoming frail. So before the main event, preparations and all that, all the maidens, discussing about the prince on the road. Whenever they were going to fetch water in the stream, they will talk about the prince. They will, they will be so glad. Some will be excited to just hear that they are going to really parade for the prince to pick them. Some of them became, enemies, because this one will say, "I'm the most beautiful," so the prince will pick me. The other one will say, "I'm the most beautiful and intelligent." This other one will say, "I went to school, you didn't go to school." The other one will say, "I'm the best cook." The other one will say, "I'm the best hairdresser." So they all had everything they were coming to say the prince will be looking out for. In fact, some people who had girls that lived with them, those ones did not even count themselves worthy to even join the competition, because they knew that they were living with either their uncles and their aunties, and it was their own children that were eligible, quote and unquote. So one fateful day, the prince now decided to go to the stream. He met one of the girls, and he got chatting with her. "How you doing?" He said, "Fine." He got to know, he wanted to get to know them. And then the other one was, normal girl thing. She was not forthcoming. This other one was talking to the prince. And then the prince now asked for their names. They told the prince. So the prince now invited the one that was talking to him to come over to his chamber. And the girl, of course, something she's been looking for, an opportunity. Remember, they've been gossiping about the prince, that this one, that the prince is back. They wish the prince would take them as a friend. So amongst themselves, they've been talking about it. So for the prince to now invite her to his chamber, hey, she was, so happy. She got home, prepared everything. She told her mom that she was going to see the prince. And one thing I used to say is, poverty should not make us to sell our children so cheap. Poverty should not. So she allowed her daughter to go without even saying, "No, don't go." And she allowed her daughter to go. Now, when the girl got to the chamber, they led her into the inner chamber, because the prince has a chamber where he receives people. He has the inner chamber where his bed and everything is almost like he has a walk-in closet and all of those things. You know how palace used to be now. So the girl came, and something happened. The prince was not, he did not have, how I put it, self-control. So when the prince went again for sightseeing, he went to see the mountains, the valleys around there. He met another maiden. He still invited that maiden. So the prince has gone out on a different, it's as in countless times, and he has met maidens, and none of them is saying no. They are all agreeing to do with him, to sleep with him. So the only girl that said she was not going to do anything with the prince was the girl living with her uncle, but the daughter was already agreeing to do something with the prince. And by this time, before the main festival, the prince had impregnated about 6 girls. 6 of those maidens were pregnant for the prince. So they didn't even know. So that's each girl was feeling that, okay, since the prince has slept with me, he's going to pick me. They didn't even know that while he was sleeping with them, he was also sleeping with the other girls. They didn't know. So when he now went for the event and he picked, guess what? The prince went and picked the girl that that lives with her uncle. And it's because she was in the crowd. He didn't pick the maidens that were dressed and all that, picked her. So that was when the news broke that. This one was saying, after what all the prince did to me, all the things I allowed him to do. This one say he took my virginity. This one say I allowed him to do this one. I allowed him to do that one to me, and he's now not choosing me. This one I want to say, the prince did that to you. He also did that to me. That day he invited me. He did this to me. He did that to me. This other one I said, are you serious? This one said, the other one I went and called the other one. I said, come and hear that the same day that prince, the same thing prince did to you is what you were thinking is a secret. Every other person got the same thing. The prince did it to them. That was how the other girl went and reported to the Onowu. The Onowu is like the person who is a traditional law keeper. Let me put it that way. So she reported to the Onowu, and the Onowu now summoned the other girls. About 3 of them came. The Onowu inquired, this thing this girl is talking about, is it true? They said yes. So that was how the Onowu now decided to call for a meeting. But before he called for that meeting, he had gone to the Igwe, that's the prince, the King Gobi, to explain to him that see what we are hearing. You need to ask your son if this is true. And when the prince came, he told the father yes, he had something to do with them. So the father now asked, okay, the mother just came in and asked, hope you used protection at least. The boy said no, that he didn't use protection. The mother now held her head and she was like, what is going on here? So the other girls, now 2 weeks later, one came and said her menses was supposed to come. It didn't come. The other one, 3 weeks later, she came and said her menses was supposed to come. It didn't come. That was how the Onowu now went back to the king. They now held a meeting. They discovered that they called their private doctor, and they discovered that they ran a test on them and discovered that their son has been randy, going about maiden to maiden, which is already a sacrilege in their community. But he did that. But because he's a prince, they decided that if they will not do anything with the pregnancy, they will keep them, because you cannot abort royal blood. So they will keep the pregnancy. But now, most of these girls who were prepared to come and be picked, and he did not pick them. Now, the rule was that he's going to marry all of them. But they say no, that in their tradition, you marry only at least 2 or 3 wives. They said yes, because they are royal blood, they cannot do anything to them. They cannot buy the children. They cannot take their lives, so they have to give birth to the children. And they cannot give birth to the children and they will become bastard. They cannot give birth to the children and they will become, outcast or anything. So he has to marry all of them and put them in the same place. So the girl he picked will become the first wife. So the prince ended up with 7 women. Remember, he impregnated 6 women, and he ended up. So one of the parents now said no, that he doesn't want the daughter to get married to the guy because he's randy. The daughter said, well, that she will not abort the baby, and she wants to give birth to the child. So she moved in. That was how all of them moved into the palace. It was now like house on commotion. No, they were not happy. The prince was not happy. The prince now started sitting down to advise young people that they should learn to have self-control, that no matter how much you feel you have authority or power, that should be the main reason why you should look out for people. You should not take advantage of people, that he regretted everything he did. And the father saw that now his son is being responsible. Thank you for watching.